Welcome to KSOK Uncensored. As you can see, we have our guest in the frame. We're starting off hot and heavy. We've got Rey Reynolds here, and Rey is running for Clark County Sheriff in Vancouver, Washington. Thank you for coming on, Rey. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you having me on. I've been looking forward to this, and I just want to thank you, Kristen, for everything that you're doing. I really am excited about what you're doing and things that you are saying and putting out there for the patriots out there.
Well, I appreciate that very much. And I have to say, I'm really excited to have you on, especially because I just came from Friday, I was at the sheriff's debate and it was incredible. And you dominated the room. I don't think that's any secret. I was actually talking with the Vancouver politician today who said the exact same thing. And what it
Wow.
was is, it really just showed people are sick and tired of the wimp noodle leader. They are looking for a strong individual to lead them and to take some risks in doing so. And your responses were genuine and they spoke to the people, which is what it should be about.
That's exactly right, Kristen. We have to have leaders that actually lead. Right now in the state that our country is in, and the majority that is putting out laws that are destructive, not just to the police, not just to the sheriff, but destructive to your safety, to the safety of the public. That's what's really disturbing, and we see it happening all over our country, but specifically here in Clark County, where we're seeing an incredible rise in crime, an incredible rise in lawlessness, and all as a result of some of the most egregious, that's the right word I want to use, egregious laws that have been passed by the legislature here in Washington State. We're like leading the pack for how abusive we can be to our law enforcement. And I find that
Oh,
absolutely reprehensible.
absolutely. I mean, I'm even hearing from Portland officers that people are fleeing across the bridge over the Columbia River, for those not familiar with the area, into Vancouver, Washington from Oregon, because Washington State has laws that really handcuff, no pun intended, but handcuff law enforcement officers from actually doing their job and keeping citizens safe. Absolutely. I mean, you're spot on with it. It's almost like, wow, is this intentional? And I feel like, in a sense, it is. But
I believe
let's
it is
let's talk
absolutely
about,
intentional.
Rey. We were talking before we started filming. We were talking about a law that was passed, HB 1639. Let's go right into that because I feel that that is incredibly concerning. Can you explain to viewers what exactly that is?
It is a law that was not only started in the House, of course, and then it got passed in the Senate, primarily by progressives that pushed this law through. It is a law that is completely unconstitutional, in my opinion. It is a law that denies you your constitutional rights. It is a law that forces you from what is a right, an inalienable right, to a privilege. Now the government has control it is a privilege for you to have a weapon, not a right. People need to understand that that is a serious, serious difference that I just covered. A inalienable right cannot be taken away. It cannot be legislated away. It cannot be taken away by our elected officials because we're not in a democracy. We are in a
Right.
democratic public, and that's the difference. You see, in a democracy, it is whatever the majority says. Whether that means whatever it does to a minority, they can legislate laws that, like, maybe allow you to have to sit in the back of the bus or to get out of your seat and give it over to somebody else. That's what the majority can do. But your constitutional rights, those protect you from that kind of democratic majority thing that comes out. It protects you, the individual. It protects you, the minority. So if you're in a minority, your rights cannot be destroyed by the majority vote. In a democracy, yeah, that can happen. But in a democratic republic, no, sir. Your constitutional rights are inalienable. And that's what this law does. It starts to, in a subtle and very sinister way, and I say that I'm not soft pedaling this, in a sinister way, it forces you to have to sign your name at the bottom of the application. Little does people know that when you sign your name, you have signed away your Fourth Amendment right, you have signed away your Fifth Amendment right, and you've signed away basically your Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. And you go, well, Ray, how in the world is that possible? It's possible because in the document, if you sign it, it is like an implied consent. You know, like when you're getting the privilege of driving, you get a driver's license and
Right.
you sign the bottom of it. It is implied consent that you are willing to take some tests in case to keep you from driving drunk. That's because it's a
Right.
privilege and it can be taken away.
Right.
Now, what happens with this law, by you signing the bottom of it, it's very similar to your license now. You now sign away your right to search and seizure. Now, the sheriff and or the police chief can now search your records legally. In other words, we can search your personal records. We can search your medical records. We can search records that might have to, records that we think in any investigation that might be critical to us determining whether or not you have a right to keep and bear arms. It no longer, it becomes now more of a privilege than a right. That's why
Right.
this law is so devastating. And what about the Fifth Amendment, against self-incrimination? So you sign something down where this is what I believe. Well, they now can check it. So now you've basically incriminated yourself in whatever. Can that happen? Yes, it can. People say, well, I have nothing to hide. I don't have nothing to hide. That's irrelevant. What's relevant is that
Right.
your Fifth Amendment right is guaranteed by the Constitution, that the government cannot force you to make incriminating statements, cannot make you testify against yourself. They cannot do that. And if they do it, it is a blatant violation of your Constitution. And by you signing it away, that's exactly what happens. People go, well, I didn't know that I signed it, that that's what I was signing away. Well, if
Right.
you look at the law, you'll find out very quickly this is exactly what you did. And then they're not making any bones about it. Now your sheriff,
Right.
hopefully not like me, or your police chief of what city you live in, they can search your records legally, and there's nothing you can do about it. And we are required. Now, this is a kicker here. The police chief and or the sheriff are required to search your records. Did you hear what I said?
Mm.
We are required to search
Wow.
at least once a year. Now, I don't know where the funding is going to come to do that, but it's required in the law.
Yeah.
These are things that people need to understand. The rest of the law, then it's about also about if you leave your weapon inside your home and you display it on the wall and someone breaks in your house, steals your weapon, uses it in a crime, then you can be charged with a crime. That should
Absolutely
terrify you.
does. It
And
it
that is
should. It
that's
absolutely
unacceptable
should.
in my opinion. I
Yes,
find it,
absolutely.
it mhm. Kristen, it's just reprehensible. It breaks my heart because
Yeah.
one of the things that is so important to we as Americans, is that we have that right, that Bill of Rights, to speak out and not worry about what we say, as long as it's not destructive or something it could be offensive speech, but we have free
Mhm.
speech. You have that right. Second Amendment, that is where we have the right to keep and bear arms. And the government has no right to
Right.
take that away.
Right.
And then, of course,
You're
our
spot on.
third and our fourth. And we have to remember these. If I can say anything to the audience, please listen to me.
Mhm.
Your constitutional rights are inalienable. That means they cannot be taken away. They can't. Now, there are times when they're talking about felon, you commit a crime and you're a felon, and they take away the rights, but still, there is opportunity to get your rights back. The important thing to me is that you understand that it is critical that you maintain your constitutional rights and exercise them. That's very important, and I hope
Right.
that I'm being clear on that. So again, then the question came up, and I'm not gonna be so bold, Kristen. I'll just say it. The question
Please
came
do.
up.
Yeah.
Well, Officer Reynolds, or Mr. Reynolds, what will you do with these laws that are
Yeah.
unconstitutional? What will you do? Will you enforce these laws? The answer is, I will not. I will not enforce unconstitutional laws. I make a living every day determining what is or isn't constitutional? What use of force or what law am I doing? Can I arrest this person and take away their Fourth Amendment right against search and seizure, seize that person, which is you have to have probable cause to do so. It's critical that I interpret the Constitution. And one of the things that I think that the audience needs to understand, because I know some are going to say, you probably don't have a right to to not enforce laws. It was brought up something about being in the executive branch and the legislature, and I agree, all that's great. But I believe, like Martin Luther King does, that there are just laws and unjust laws, Kristen.
Right.
Just laws are those laws which maintain the dignity and the purpose of a society. Unjust laws do just the opposite. They are the ones that are not dignified. They crush the human spirit. They destroy that which is personal and direct. I, for one, cannot and will not enforce unjust laws. Martin Luther King made it
Amen.
very clear that we have to be discerning when it comes to these laws. And if it violates the Constitution, straight out, it's an unjust law. And that's why
Amen.
and one
Thank
where
you.
and that's where our people have to stand up and say,
It,
no,
yes.
no, we will not
Right.
allow you to
Exactly.
take away these precious, oh, Kristen, these these rights are precious.
Yes,
Nowhere
they
else in
are.
the world has these rights, these where it's not about the government lording it over. The
Right.
government officials serve at the pleasure of the governed. It is
Right.
important that they recognize that we have a constitution that protects the individual, and that it protects us not against each other per se, but against the government bringing its the power of government down upon us. That's why they rebelled against the King of England, because of his
Right. Exactly.
abusiveness. That's why they
I'm
rebelled
teaching my
against him and
kids
said
that
no.
right now. That's the fun
Are
thing
you
about homeschooling.
exactly?
I teach my kids, yeah. So we do all sorts of stuff, but right now we're doing Tuttle Twins, and yeah, I'm going through like the Tudor period, and then what came next, and then when they left in the 1600s, and so it's really cool to break it down and have the kids be able to see the story leading up to 1776,
That's right.
and
Oh,
and
Kristen, right
and
on.
why they left in the first place. Yeah, and hey, I got to be honest, I'm learning some stuff along the way because I
I'm
spent
with you.
my school days socializing.
I understand. I know. I used
Yeah.
to say I can't stand history. Now I'm like, what was I thinking? I should be
Yes.
I should
Yes.
be ready to do something great. And now so now I regret
Yep.
that I didn't study like I should have. But I
Well, that
am
okay.
excited now.
Oh yeah. No, history is amazing, and I want to before we move on to homelessness because that's a huge topic. I want to ask you
Yes,
on the constitutional and unconstitutional. So obviously, we've all been through the ringer, especially in the Northwest. And if these mask mandates, these vaccine mandates, those absolutely unconstitutional. They are mandates, not laws. How will that we know they're coming back. We know, midterms are right around the corner. There's going to be some reason to push masks back on society. We just know it. And I'm just curious, as sheriff, how would you handle enforcing these types of mandates or not enforcing?
well, see, again, can I tell you that, all right, you cannot meet with a group of people in your home, even if they're family. You cannot meet in your home with
Right.
those people.
No,
No, that's blatant
no.
violation of the First Amendment. Oh, can I tell you, not only do I want you to meet, I'll determine how many people can go into this building, how and also whether you can speak, and most importantly, whether you can worship or sing. If people heard someone say this, of course they
Heck no.
can't. But that's exactly what happened. And many, many,
Right.
many different churches, they wanted to comply and did, and actually limited their number of people who come in, that actually limited the people that could speak, limited the amount of worship.
A
Unbelievable.
travesty.
And
It
so
is a travesty.
it it is, and it just and it how should I put this? It harmed the people. So now
It
they
did.
can't get together. We are a social animal. We have to
Yes.
socialize. We have to talk. We learn from each other. We're able to speak. That's why we have language so that we can talk to each other.
Right.
To deny us that basic First Amendment right was outrageous, Kristen. And to
Absolutely.
comply and I understand how people did it. I don't I People are lawful and they want to do what's right. They want to believe that the government has their best interest. In this
Right.
case, they did not. When we're
Right.
talking about mandates, and I think I agree with you because last time I checked, Governor Inslee was still having us in an emergency situation. And
Right.
so long as we're in that emergency situation, which apparently isn't that emergent right now, but he's
Hmm.
still holding that over us, he can institute those mandates like that. And
Right.
we
I
need to
believe he
be
just
aware.
extended it. His emergency powers. I believe they were extended recently.
I heard that they were extended. I just didn't know when, how
Crazy.
far into the future. I think it's just going to keep niddling. Well, we're going to go 2 more weeks, another 2 more weeks until we're right back again to 3 years underneath
Yeah.
this travesty.
Right.
Um,
Right.
I,
Exactly.
I, I think earlier we had that right here in Clark County. I don't know if the rest of the country that you're talking to knew about it. We actually had a referendum petition that went out. It was outstanding. We ended up getting, I think, what, 11,000 signatures on it. It brought it to our council to vote on, so that to say that we do not want to have a mandate. So it's critical that we do that. So in any event,
Yes.
it was stunning, absolutely stunning that this happened. Um,
Yes. All right, wait, Ray. Well, I really appreciate you answering that. I want to pivot into something that is plaguing the Pacific Northwest, and that is homelessness. I know that,
right.
Vancouver, Washington being over the bridge from Portland, I have family in Vancouver. When I go and visit, I see it spilling out into Vancouver and even made its way to Battleground. Saw that out there the other day. So,
Yeah, that's very
talk to
unfortunate.
us about what your plan is for this homeless, houseless, whatever the PC term is, crisis that we are experiencing in Clark County.
Kristen, thank you, thank you, thank you for asking this question because it is the question that keeps coming up. And it's something that we in Clark County, I have to say this around the world, have not had to experience. But
Mhm.
homelessness right now is exploding in our area. Now, we need to understand something. Um, we didn't have this major problem we had a problem with it, but we had it under control. One of the issues that came up was that and a lot of our departments are just cringing in fear and running away from the problem rather than running towards the problem like they should. They're cringing because there was a Supreme Court case under actually it was a Ninth Circuit ruling, and the Ninth Circuit covers all the West Coast in a called the Boise case that came out, which said
Mm,
governments have to provide a place for someone to stay before they enforce the law against camping and living on the street. That's I simplified it right
yeah,
down to its essence. So that means the government
right.
has to provide housing, or at least and the word that I want to use here is the opportunity. That's the important word, the
Yeah,
opportunity to get
yes.
housing. In this case, we want to talk in homelessness. You have to understand there are three different types of homelessness, Kristen. If I can just take a quick, I'll do real quick on this.
Please
There's three
do.
different
Please
types.
do.
There's your acutely homeless, there's your chronically homeless, and then there's your criminally homeless. Now, your acutely
Yep.
homeless are those people that all of a sudden, oh no, my rent went up, I can't afford it, or I had a bad investment and now I lost my home, or my wife got ill. All of those things came through and they lost their home and they have no place to go. They don't want to be on
Yeah,
the street. They don't want to live in a tent. They don't want any of that. They need help. And we as a society, it is our obligation. I would even go so far as to say it is our duty to show compassion and and have a way to help these people. We cannot
right.
ignore them. We absolutely must help them. I cannot stand it when I hear people say, "Oh, we're not going to do anything." No, that is not compassion. But we need to
Right.
show compassion, And to the acutely homeless, we need to be able to provide them with housing, the opportunity for housing. Also, if they have addictions, we need to be able to provide them a means to help break that addiction. We need to help provide them a means of budgeting or a way to get back on their feet. Not, excuse me, not to have a handout. I mean, just keep handing it out. No,
Right.
but a hand up. That's a whole difference. So we give them what I'm proposing in a program that I designed. It's called the NET program. I call the Neighborhood Excellence Team. The NET program is a group of people that have what we've done. We've set up a whole group of people, employers, very important, counselors, like, and also people that know how to get housing, people that know how to counsel people that are hurting, and also other people that are really good at talking to the addicted. Oh, incredible. We
Mhm.
get this group of people around, and they're not just all professionals, they're just like you and I, what we can do.
Yeah.
And we surround the people, the acutely homeless, with all of these people. We just wrap our arms around them. And it doesn't take 4 days or 3 days or a week or 3 months like some of these programs have. We get this thing taken care of in a matter of hours. We had an example where
Wow.
we had a family of 3 living in a tent. I won't say where,
Mm.
and I won't use their names, but these
Yeah.
3, they were acutely homeless, and they were like, "We don't wanna be here."
Right.
Within 18 hours, we had them off the street, in a place to stay, with counselors. We had drugs that were brought in, good drugs, meaning that they were having some mental health issues and they needed their medications. We brought those in
Right.
by the different agencies that employed, and those people were taken care of. They got checked out by the doctor. It was a beautiful thing. They are now
Wow.
off the street, Kristen, off the street completely,
Mm.
and it's amazing. That's what compassion we can do for the acutely
Yes.
homeless. But then there's the chronic
Yes.
homeless. The chronically homeless, those are the people that decide we only thing we want from you is your money. Give us your money.
Right.
With that
The
money, they
ones
go
at
out
the
and buy
freeway
drugs.
entrance.
Yep, those are the ones. They are,
Yeah.
and you see them there all the time. Those are
Yeah.
chronically homeless, meaning they are there. They they like what they're doing. I have been told many times by the chronically homeless, and I see them every day. I don't need your help. I just want you to give me some
Right.
money so that I can do what I want to do with it. And they
Right.
enjoy. One actually just this guy tells me, Kristen, I like living out here. I feel free. Okay, well that's
Mm.
great.
Okay.
You can live free and that's okay. But you know what?
Right.
When it violates the norm, when it violates other
Yeah.
people's rights, when you throw garbage and filth, when you attract rats, when all of these things start to happen, it goes beyond. So again, we can
Yes.
still offer compassion to the chronically homeless. But if they and we offer them the opportunity for housing. And in the case of the chronically homeless, we can say, listen, you can stay on the streets from like 9:30 to 6 o'clock. That's fine. But after that
Yeah.
time period, you have to have your gear up. You have to bring your tent down, and you need to be moving on from where you're at. We cannot allow you to be permanently fixed in this location. And then we also
Right.
have opportunities where we have housing that we can have for people with these little tiny houses where we have other places where we're
Yes.
actually renting and buying hotels. All of these places we can make this available to them. The opportunity is there. However, if they don't accept it, if they don't accept it, then there's another part of my plan that we need to understand. Compassionate, yes, but accountability. Now we must hold them
Yes.
accountable. We cannot
Right.
sit back and go, "Oh well, we're still they're there, and we're still trying to develop relationships." I have been doing this for the past 5 to 6 years, and I see maybe 50 to 60 homeless people a day that I talk
Yeah.
to. I
I
know them.
believe
I'm on a
it.
first name basis. I'm on a first name basis with a lot. And many of them say they just want your money. And many of them are still on the street.
Right.
But
Right.
those are the people we offer the opportunity to get housing. If they don't take it, then we hold them accountable. And what does accountable mean?
Yes.
It means that we arrest. We arrest.
Yes.
You give tickets. We offer them the opportunity to store their goods. We offer them anything we can to get them off the street. If they refuse it, then we hold them accountable. And then there's last one is the one that is so nefarious, and it just makes me ill to talk about it, is the criminally homeless. These
Yeah.
are criminals that are that are plaguing, that are uh, preying upon the homeless. It's
Yeah.
outrageous, Kristen. They
Yeah.
literally
They're like the
prey on them.
Walking Dead.
They,
Yeah.
and they come exactly, and they come in and take advantage of the homeless. They take advantage of
Yeah.
these ladies that are homeless and living on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just say it, and I don't mean to be too gross. These ladies, many of them are being raped daily,
Right. I
daily,
believe it.
and they have to put up with this. Is that compassion, Kristen? Is that in any
No,
form compassion? It is
not
not.
at
We
all.
must not
No.
allow this. It is, and to let these criminally homeless meander and move amongst the groups in these what I call crime camps, because that's what they became. Many of people in Clark County saw a huge camp that was at Mill Plain and Mill Plain and 112th.
Yeah.
Every day we were
My
getting
dad lives
calls.
off in Mill Plain. My
Yep.
dad
See,
he
and
lives off in Mill Plain. He showed me.
yeah, it was horrible. Every day we
Yeah.
had complaints of guys with machetes, guys robberies that were occurring, assaults,
Yeah.
gunshots. All this was occurring in the camps, and we would chase these guys from where they did the robberies. They go into the camp and vanish because we can't just
Yep.
search every tent, their homes. So the
Exactly.
important thing is these crime camps cannot be allowed. We must not allow these
Right.
criminal homeless that are plaguing us and plaguing the outer areas must be stopped. Kristen, it is critical that we recognize that
Yeah.
homelessness is not a monolithic issue. It is not. It is they're diverse with the, like I said, with the acute versus chronic versus criminal. We have to be able to determine who they are. And your officers, your sheriff's deputies, those people are very, very good at determining and basically triaging. And if we have a
Right.
program like the net where we can actually wrap around those that really do want the help, I promise you, we ended up cleaning up an entire area utilizing this technique. We got people homes, jobs, places to stay. It was, and people rushed in to help. And I want to commend all of Clark County. We have so many wonderful people. Oh, I just want to
Yeah.
put my arms around them. I'm so proud of them that want to help the homeless and want to do what is
Yes.
good and bring supplies. And all of that is critical. And I welcome you into the net. Come in there and get involved with me. Get involved as how we can actually do something to not just manage the problem. Oh,
Yeah, I
we
love
can't.
that. And you're right. I live in Oregon now, but Clark County is my heart. I grew up in Brush Prairie battleground area. So, and there are
Yes,
such great people out there. Ray, if people
wonderful
wanted to
people.
join the net, how do they get in touch with you? How does somebody join the net?
Oh, please, thank you for asking that question. You can go to my webpage right now, votereyreynolds.com, or just rayreynolds.com. Any one of those will get. So votereyreynolds.com is a great place to go. Um, Talk to me, send me messages, leave me messages on my site. I want you to get involved. Get involved with the Rey Reynolds team, and jump on there because you can make a difference. I know you can. Be a part of the net. You can say, well, what can I do? You'd be surprised. One guy I know for a fact, all he does is bring tents. He goes and he buys tents and he goes and he gives them
Wow.
to the homeless. He's an amazing man. I'm not going to give his name out because he does it out of the love of his heart. An awesome man.
Yes.
And we
That's
have
awesome.
we have a couple of groups that I know that actually come out and feed the homeless. I want you involved. I want you to get involved and to because now we can work together to not manage the homeless situation. Frankly, what's happening in this area, what happened in Portland, what happened in Seattle, what happened
Yeah.
in San Francisco, all of those places did one thing. They continued to allow it to grow. And with the failed policies of Seattle, the failed policies of Portland, those things were outrageous. And they did some tremendous
Yes,
damage.
they were.
Tremendous
Yes, they
damage.
were.
And that's what we're following right now. These failed policies. That's what's destroying them. We can't let that come here to Clark County. We as
Nope.
a group
And
must
I don't
say
see that
that's
happening
enough.
with you in charge. I think
It's not.
Clark
I
County needs you. They need a change. They need somebody who really works for the people. And you have a huge support group, and I completely see why. and you're doing very well. And it's been an absolute honor to have you on. We're wrapping up right now, but I wish we had more time, Ray, because you're an
Oh,
incredible person,
oh,
and I can't wait for more people to get in touch with you and continue to help you along with your mission. And
thank you,
any
Kristen.
any last words for viewers? Anything that you really want to drive home?
Yes, I do. Last words. I'd like you to know that it is time for you to get involved. You can no longer sit back and just hope that everything will work out. You have to get involved. Jump on the team with people that you know are going to lead and not manage. There's a difference. They're going to lead to a solution, not manage a problem. They're going to solve the problem. Get on that team, see what you can do, and get involved with your community. We must not let what happened in Portland happen here in Clark County. Join me, Rey Reynolds. I'm running for your sheriff, for Clark County Sheriff. Join my team.
Awesome. I love it so much. You're so amazing. And I just can't say enough nice things about you. So thank you very much for taking time out of your evening, Ray. And I know I'll see you at an event soon.
That's correct. That's correct. Thank you. I look forward to seeing you, Kristen, and all of your
You as
viewers.
well. You as well. You take care. Thank you, Ray.
I will.
All right, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in to KSOK Uncensored, another great, amazing patriot. I can't say enough nice things, and that's genuine. All right, thank you guys. Don't forget to tune in next Thursday, KSOK Uncensored. Have a great night.